Sergeant Spartan, you've been sentenced to 70 years, sub-zero rehabilitation in the California cryopenitentiary for the involuntary manslaughter of 30 innocent civilians.
Skip it.
You will be placed in cryostasis for the duration of your sentence, during which your behavior will be altered through synaptic suggestion. You'll be eligible for parole no earlier than the year 2046.
John Spartan's lawyer needs to be fired. I mean, this guy, 70 years? 70 years.
Drew. Skip it.
Skip it.
Skip it.
I'll skip it. This is episode 49 of the Last Row podcast. My name is Drew. As always, I'm joined across the room by my co-host and friend, Mr. Badway.
Skip it.
Skip it, Badway. We are at thelastrowpodcast.com for our website. We are also on Twitter at thelastRowPod. We have a Facebook page. Thanks for everybody that's liked it. Head on out, facebook.com/thelastRowPod.
We've gotten a lot more likes ever since I shamelessly pleaded people to start liking our Facebook, so thank you.
Thank you to everybody that's done that.
I ain't too proud to beg, y'all.
I'd like to use it more, but we don't get a lot of traction out there, so start interacting on the Facebook page and we'll put more content out there. We're also on Google+. We get no Google+ action at all.
What is a Google+?
But we're on there. And most importantly, we are also on iTunes. So if you haven't hit the subscribe button on iTunes, go out, subscribe to us. If you haven't had the chance to leave us a 5-star review, please go ahead and do that. Let us know what you like about the show. We are almost at 50 reviews. We said this last week, but we're almost at that JCVD split. I'm still stretching.
We'll get there.
I'm not making any progress on my stretches.
I don't think we're ever going to get it.
And we're also on Google Play Music. If you're out there, hit the subscribe button, however you want to get to us. And one more thing, we also have affiliate codes for Amazon and iTunes now. So we don't do ads on the show. We try to keep it ad free. But you can help us out if you guys want to watch the movies that we're listing. We're putting links in the description. So if you want to watch Demolition Man and you want to watch it on Amazon or iTunes, use the link that we have in the post. And that would help us out a lot. So thank you, everybody, in advance.
Yeah, we get like 5 cents. So it'd be great.
We get just, a little bit here or there. We have a massive hole here.
Anyway, Drew, skip it. Just kidding. Demolition Man, 1993, directed by Marco Brambilla.
Brambilla?
Brambilla. IMDb, 6.6%. Synopsis. With innocent victims caught in the crossfire in Los Angeles' intensifying war on crime. Both
anyone
cop
get that?
John Spartan and violent thug Simon Phoenix, 2 great names, by the way.
I'd say he's more than a violent thug.
Thug?
Criminal mastermind.
Are sentenced to a state of frozen incarceration known as cryo prison. Trademark. When Spartan is finally thawed 36 years later, it's 2032, and Los Angeles is now a pacifist utopia called San Angeles. Pacifist utopia. True.
Not to Denis Leary, but
with Phoenix again on the loose, Spartan must team up with future cop Lenita Huxley, a.k.a. Sandra Bullock's, to apprehend the killer. See, now, future cop, is she like a future cop, or is she a cop from the future?
Like Time Cop?
Yeah, is she a time cop?
Is she like ahead of her time?
I don't like the way they wrote that. It's like future cop makes it seem like she's a child and she's aspiring to be a cop.
I also don't like
a cop from the future, but that makes her seem like she time traveled, but she didn't do that either.
And I also don't like the fact that they called Simon Phoenix a violent thug.
Yeah.
This guy is like criminal mastermind, psychotic mastermind. Yeah. A violent thug is like a guy that just, maybe he beats somebody up.
Yeah.
Like this guy is murdering.
He seems like the type of guy that'd be walking down the street, go to the grocery store, and he'll just punch a guy in the face.
He would, but then he would also murder everyone in the grocery store because that's what he does.
Yeah.
And before we jump into this, 2 of the greatest names in movie history.
Yeah.
John Spartan and Simon Phoenix.
Very heroic name, John Spartan.
I mean, Spartan, it's just such a strong name.
Makes me think of Russell Crowe, obviously. But,
exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So there's a lot to get to in this movie, and as we usually don't do, we're not going to go a whole lot of plot in this. There's a lot of nonsense that we're going to have to address, right?
Yeah, it's just too much.
So we're going to try our best to stay on point here, but this is going to be all over the place. So it's best hearing this movie, having already a previous knowledge of it. But again, if you haven't seen it, then you can live vicariously through our words.
So. Let's be real. There's not really anything to spoil in this. It's just It's an action movie from 1993. So if you haven't seen it, hopefully you can just enjoy the conversation anyway.
All right, so let's start off with the pre-freeze, right? So this is the kind of like the opening credits of the movie. This is before the opening credits. We meet John Spartan and River Phoenix. I knew I was going to do that. I swear I didn't do that on purpose.
But before we recorded the show, he was sitting there saying to me, I know I'm going to call him River Phoenix. I know I'm going to call him River Phoenix.
The first time I said it, I did it. You know, and I even thought in my brain, Simon,
I saw your
and I
face
spit out River.
Yeah.
Simon Phoenix.
Simon River Phoenix.
Not Joaquin's brother. So we, sorry. Anyway, we meet them. So we found out who they are. Basically, John Spartan is Sylvester Stallone, and Simon Phoenix is Wesley Snipes, and they are nemesis.
I would say that they're the equivalent of Batman and the Joker.
That's a very good comp, really. So what is up with Los Angeles in this present day 1993?
It looks like just a shelled out war zone. They're flying over in a helicopter. And this is important because it sets the stage for what the future is. But they fly over this shelled out looking like crap town. It looks like basically a war zone. And there's fires everywhere. All this stuff's just destroyed. And Simon River Phoenix got this freaking badass hideout.
Yeah.
It's like it's some destroyed out like building with just awesome scenery, right?
It's like an entire industrial complex. But total badass bad guy lair.
Does every town in America look like this, or is it just? I mean, they call John Spartan the Demolition Man, right? I mean, not to jump ahead here.
No, but he is the title character. Like that's how he goes by, because he's a cop that will go against the rules and basically blow up the town in order to get his man.
Does the town look like this because the Demolition Man demolished the town? And maybe that's why they just finally had enough of it? It's like, dude, okay, you blew up, you killed like 40 people, even though you didn't really do it, but you destroyed all of Los Angeles.
Destroyed Los Angeles. It's time to pay up. So, So that was my question. And this is something we're going to have to address, is whether or not the entire country is a world of trash, or it's just this iteration of Los Angeles, right?
I mean, I would venture to say that maybe it's just the town, and it's like, we just don't go there anymore. It's like when the downtown area gets like just bad with crime or something of a place, of a city. Like, don't go to that section of town anymore. That's what Los Angeles is to me. It's like they send this guy in. He's taken over the whole town. That's what I think.
So watching this movie reminded me of, we said this about Kindergarten Cop way back in the day at our Kindergarten Cop episode, is I want to see the prequel to this movie, because we basically step in to the end of the Stallone Snipes Demolition Man prequel, pretty much, where it's 93, they're fighting for like the 100th time, and Spartan finally busts him, right?
Oh, yeah.
He beats him in a fight, and he finally arrests him, even though there were 40 innocent people as casualties.
Yes.
The entire complex gets blown up. Another piece of Los Angeles is gone, but he arrests his man. But Spartan himself, this time, is also charged with the murder of the innocent people. Involuntary manslaughter, they call it.
Dude, he needs a better lawyer. I said it in the beginning. He needs a better lawyer. He was not even... Phoenix was going to blow this place up regardless. Yeah. He had it already rigged. He had the gas. Everything was there.
He is the Joker. He's a psychopath. He's a mass murderer. These people were going to die no matter what. So we kind of like took Spartan with him on his way to jail.
And I don't think that he actually wants Spartan to die. I think, like you said it to me before, I think that he just likes fighting him. It's like it's a game to him.
He'd be lost without him.
He likes to kill the people because he's crazy, but he doesn't want to kill Spartan. He likes the chase. It's the thrill of the chase, right? But I think it's total BS that he gets charged with this crime. He said involuntary manslaughter.
Yeah.
When's the last time, 70 years? He's a cop. He was trying to save the people.
Right, exactly.
It doesn't make any sense.
But again, a 70-year jail sentence is a little different when it's not behind bars, but in the Demolition Man world, a 70-year jail sentence is now carried out through cryogenic freezing.
So who came up with the idea of cryogenic freezing?
Yeah.
Did they ever address that? I don't think they did.
No. I don't know if it was a creation of the eventual founder of the Utopian Society, Dr. Cocteau, who we'll talk about later on in the movie. But my question to you is this one of the long-term benefits of freezing your prisoners for 70 years plus in order to thaw them out later to become a productive member of society?
So as the movie or whoever the architect of this cryo prison would have you believe, they're getting rehabilitated through some type of, brain implant or something they have on their head. So they're learning how to, in Sylvester Stallone's case, learns how to become a knitter.
Yeah,
he
like,
becomes a knitter.
You're supposed to learn like calming, nice, productive tasks,
so that when you go back into society, you can contribute.
Yeah. So what they say, like in modern day prison or prison back then and all today, real life prison, you go in there, they say you're going to be quote unquote rehabilitated, but really it's just a big gathering area for all the world's criminals.
Yeah, right. And
so this is like a legit way for you to rehabilitate someone.
They're on their own. They're trying to learn something.
Yeah.
But I still don't. I don't know. Is that fair to the average citizens of society? Right.
Yeah.
I don't think it is.
So what are you going to do? So the world goes on, right? It gets populated. We're already overpopulated as it is, like as a society. So what we're going to do is we're going to preserve these thugs and criminals and murderers and rapists and killers and burglars, everything. And we're just going to release them 100 years later into the world again.
But they're knitting, man. They're knitters now.
Knitting, right? They'll be knitting. Well, we know that. But like, do they remember like their past? What's to stop their past from triggering, right?
Yeah, wouldn't it be better off just doing like a Total Recall thing where they just wipe their mind instead?
Right. So like, and I know this is like a humane thing. Like they're not, this is like the anti-death penalty, right? This is like the complete opposite of the death penalty. We're preserving their life for later.
What if somebody like accidentally just unplugged the system and they thought out like too slow and they all died? It's like, oops.
That's the worst kind of death too,
Oops.
I'm sure.
No, I don't know. I mean, the crux of this is that these guys go into this cryo freeze. We don't know whether they're rehabilitated or not. In John Spartan's case, we don't really have a good example because he was never a criminal to begin with.
Yeah, and he said he was awake during the whole thing and he was having waking nightmares. He saw his wife pound on his iced cube, right? It's like a whole thing. His iced cube.
His ice cube. Yeah, he's like, he saw the building burning down with all the people dying. Yeah. He said he was in a 40-year nightmare.
Yeah, so they don't know the full scientific behind this. So when they go to like rehabilitate someone and like thaw them out, say the thing worked, right? And it's like 7 years later and they thaw out John Spartan, right? So you're gonna have it's almost like torture. Like, what's he going to contribute to society in the future? Like, the place is already populated. That's just I have a lot of questions.
He's going to open a sweater business.
Yeah.
He gave her that nice red sweater.
Yeah.
He's got Spartan sweaters here. It's a new business. He could start up right away.
It just seems like a bad idea. Like you're going to have all these former criminals running around, and I feel like you're like a seconds away from like. It's like you worked so hard to build this utopian society, you're jeopardizing it, right?
Yeah, I mean, and what is the deal? Like, so they have parole hearings where they thaw them out, take them into a room on like a board, talk to them, and then refreeze them because
like, oh, you know what? Yeah, you did change.
So is that just a formality?
Yeah.
Are they just like, oh yeah, we're gonna go talk to you. Oh, you didn't change. Goodbye.
Yeah.
See
right.
ya.
Yeah.
I don't know, but I mean, long story short, these guys are frozen, and it brings us to present day society. He gets frozen as part of one of the coolest intros, I think, for a 1990s
Great
movie.
title sequence.
It was awesome. Like they showed his body in 3D, and I looked this up online. There's like a rubber body double that they created of Sylvester Stallone with like a little G-string on, where they dump that goo in there and they froze him with the little blue pellet that you'll see later in the movie.
How creepy would that be to have that in your house?
Like him just in a tub?
Yeah.
That would give me nightmares. Talk about last week, we talked about movies that give you nightmares.
Yeah.
I mean, that freaks me the hell out. Just thinking about Stallone in a tub.
Yeah,
so weird.
If I was ever like a billionaire and I had a mansion with like 47 rooms, that would be one of my rooms. I would buy a tub. And
would you set it up like the
rubber
whole thing?
Stallone in it? Yeah.
No, you could set up the cryo freezing room like you just have it in your room.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
But yeah, so anyway, it brings us to the title sequence, which is pretty awesome. You see him being frozen, and then it cuts to the future,
which is 2032, which is not that far away from our present day right now. Let's say we're 16 years away from this future,
and that's what I mean. So the future is this utopian society, as you heard when Badway read the intro there. The architect of this society is this guy named Dr. Raymond Cocteau.
Dr. Raymond Cocteau.
Cocteau.
Yeah.
Cocteau.
Yeah. So he's dressed like the Pope.
Yeah,
pretty much.
Yeah, you call him the Pope.
He's the Pope to me.
He looks like he's a wannabe. He looks like Erlich Bachman to me because he's dressed in like the Japanese garb, like the he's obsessed with Japanese culture. He's got the
looks
the kimono.
Very comfortable.
It does. Would you wear that?
Absolutely.
So you would prefer the society to be like that, so you could wear that?
No, just the clothes.
Just like
in 2032, if we're all walking around in those robes, I think it's a win.
You're gonna.
Yeah.
He looks like a Jedi.
Yeah.
Well, this dude is the architect of the society. He's got a fat lackey with him. The guy from Beetlejuice. That guy from that thing.
Yeah, that guy from that thing.
Whatever that guy is. I want to ask you, does this guy have good intentions? Excuse me. Or Is he just hungry for the power,
Well,
or both?
They play him off immediately with a creepy vibe, and obviously he has sinister intentions with as far as Simon Phoenix goes, which we'll get into in a minute. But I feel like this guy is totally on a power trip. He built a society, and yeah, it's kind of good for everyone because everyone's happy. There's no murder, death, kills. Everyone's well, all that kind of thing. But at the same time, I think this guy gets off on the power. Like, he wants to run the world, right?
Oh, he has that twinkle in his eye where people are looking at him through those telepresence robot things, the chairs, and he's got all the people looking at him. He's running the society as this. He's basically a dictator without being a dictator. I mean, everyone worships this guy. They're like, oh, he created this society after Los Angeles used to be this dump. We built over top of the crap, like literally built over top of it. You know, how late is this? How much further is this? Is
2032.
So it's like 40 years.
Yeah, so
right?
it's 40 years.
Can you actually, and we talked about this a little bit, can you actually create this society in that short amount of time?
See, I don't think so. I feel like there will be too many people that are still alive from the old regime. I feel like they're too advanced for how little time has passed.
What if they just froze him?
They froze all the detractors?
They're like, oh, he
or threw him under the sewers?
If Stallone's going to go to prison for not killing somebody,
Yeah.
What's to say if you have overdue parking tickets? I mean, oops, you had parking tickets, so you're frozen. See ya. See you in 40 years.
I feel like there would have been like 30 years. Oh, no, I'm sorry. It's 40 years have passed for them to completely rebuild the city. Like, literally looks like a beautiful landscape. Everyone is on the same page. Everyone's a wuss. No one knows how to fight. They haven't touched each other in years. There hasn't been a murder since 2016, they said. So that's 16 years without a murder. Cops aren't doing anything. There's no need for cops. It's like this beautiful place. Everyone's getting along. There are no there are no lower class. It's all upper class. And if you're lower class, you're underground.
You're literally lower.
I don't think that could happen in 40 years.
So I can tell you how it would happen. This is the only way that it could happen.
Yeah.
If they literally kicked everybody out and built it, and then it was ready for you to move in like a new apartment complex. It's like, hey, look, we got these new apartments. We're now leasing. Yeah. We're now leasing in this place. Because then you could say, oh, wow, it looks so great. You're not part of the transition. But the transition from the garbage town that Los Angeles was, just like trash burning in the street and just fires everywhere, to then, oh man, this grass looks better than, the master's grass. Yeah. It's like, looks like a golf course everywhere. Everything looks beautiful. The apartments are great.
All right, what if I put it to you this way? Like, say, you have like massive debt, right?
Yeah.
You have massive debt. And this is like a way to like reset everything, right?
Sure.
So I'm sure a lot of people are going to go for that. So
I guess.
It's like, so my life is crap. My house is crap.
Yeah.
Everything's crap. I got a pile of debt. But here's this guy with this idea, and he can change my life. All I have to do is follow his rules. And it's a nice thing. All I have to do is not touch anybody, not murder anybody, not allowed to kiss anybody anymore, not allowed to have sex anymore. But, things are going to be up. Things are going to be looking good. Maybe I'll follow this guy.
Some would call this guy a cult leader.
Exactly.
But is he really that bad? I hate to take his side here for a second. It was pretty bad before this guy took over.
Yeah, no, he had definitely improved but it's not natural. It's not natural.
It's not.
It's too creepy. It's too cult-like. Cult is the perfect word.
But
it's a citywide cult.
Maybe what they needed was this guy to come in and get it started.
Yeah.
And then they need Denis Leary to come up from the sewers to then just take it over and make it a little better.
He had some good ideas, but he went too far maybe. And here, let's cycle back to this question now. We asked about Los Angeles in 1993 in this movie world. Is the country like this, or is it just San Los Angeles? San Angeles.
Well,
sorry.
So you asked me that, and I'll ask you another question to piggyback on that.
Yeah.
So we'll answer both at the same
You're
time.
going to answer my question with another question?
Yes, I am.
All right.
Did Los Angeles, like we said it before in the beginning, was that just a bad part of town, and then it looks like crap, and the rest of the country's fine?
Yeah.
Because that takes us to your question, where it's like, is the rest of the country crap, and now this is good, and everybody, you have to get like an invite to go here?
Yeah. I think this is a separate part of the country. I don't think the whole country's like this. But I think there's a flaw in that, because if this were a part of the country, and like then Simon Phoenix got thawed out and started wreaking havoc, I feel like other criminals this would be a target, right?
Well, they need to
would this be a target for other criminals from other cities to come in and bust this place down?
Yeah, unless we find out it's like Biodome, where there's like literally a dome around the city.
There's literally like a gated community where you can't get in.
That's the only way I think that this could work, if they did it that way.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like, you have a guard in the front, you got to badge in, It doesn't make any sense.
But again, long story short, I'm saying this is a bad idea, and this was doomed to fail. And I know he tried to get the underground Edgar-friendly Denis Leary killed, which we'll describe later, to try to perfect his plan, and maybe expand it. But I feel like it would have buckled anyway eventually.
Well, let's talk a little bit about the society itself. I'm going to give you some things. You tell me if you would accept this in a future society. So think about your life today. Your life is pretty good. We got a good life here. Technology is pretty good. We got tablets. We got TVs. We got Netflix. We got podcasts.
We got Netflix.
We got Netflix. You can watch anything you want. You can even share it with your friend.
Sure.
It's like you could do all of this stuff today, right?
Yeah.
It's pretty futuristic when you think about what 1980 probably was to now.
Absolutely.
So think about 40 years from now. Well, not 40 years from now, like 15.
Yeah.
You've got self-driving cars.
Yeah.
That you can drive yourself if
we
you want to.
We already have that.
Right?
We're on the way.
We're kind of on our way.
We're on the way.
You've got radio stations that played old-time commercials. We kind of have that.
Well, that's kind of like hipster logic. I feel like that could be a thing. If you go all serious, I bet there's probably a station.
Commercials channel.
There's probably a station for old-timey show tunesy type things. What about the dressing of the kimonos again?
Yeah, we've got kimonos. We got better comfortable dress.
Yes.
We've got GPS trackers in everybody's hand. That's pretty great. You know where your friends are at all times.
We don't have that now.
You got a phone in your pocket, don't you?
I guess we do, yeah. They can find you. Yeah.
You've got Taco Bell everywhere, which, if you're a fan of Taco Bell, that's pretty great, We'll come back to that in a second. But I'll tell you what I'm not on board with. In America, we don't have bidets. We got toilet paper, which you could argue there's probably a better way, and they make fun of it in the movie.
Yeah.
But what they got there is 3 seashells.
So this is we got to talk about this right away. Because when you mention the movie Demolition Man, the first thing you think about is the 3 seashells, right?
Yes. And it's a big joke in the whole movie.
Yeah.
I think I read something online that said the reason why it was in the movie was because this guy was trying to figure out a futuristic plot, and the friend he called, it was like the screenwriter, he calls a guy who was actually taking a dump at the time that he talked to him, he looked on his toilet, and he saw that he had a bag of seashells there. It's like a decoration.
That's how most good ideas get started, usually. It's on the toilet.
So the 3 seashells, could you make do with these? How would you use it? They never tell you how.
See, this could be an hour-long episode, so this is can of worms now. We're going to open this. We're going to open this can of worms right now. So there's an infograph, the very famous infograph that's online. I think it was started on Reddit. Where they want you to hold the seashells like chopsticks, right? And I don't mean to be graphic, but I'm just going to be graphic here. They want you to basically
catch it.
You pull the feces out, right?
Do you want me to read the steps to you? I have it up. We'll post this on Twitter and on the thing. Step 1: take 2 of the 3 seashells and place them between your fingers to be used like chopsticks. Step 2, and there's a very graphic graph that goes along with this.
Yeah. Step
2, using the 2 seashells, gently pull on the feces to remove them from your posterior until your bowels have been completely emptied. And it's got a picture of a butt with a nice Lincoln log coming out, catching it. Step 3, use the 3rd seashell to scrape away any fecal remnants from your posterior. And step 4, dispose of all 3 seashells and flush.
First question, what if it's not a solid?
You're screwed.
Yeah.
I mean, you need a bucket.
Second question, what if you need more than 3 seashells?
You're screwed. You're screwed. I mean, and the other thing is too, why wouldn't you just at that point use your hand to catch it?
Yeah.
And then use all 3 seashells to scrape.
So, all right.
This is quickly gone in the gutter.
Can I don't know if I could do this. I have it's similar to what they're saying. Can I just say it? Should I say it?
Turn it off right now if you don't want to hear bathroom humor.
So you take the 2 seashells, right? And you so the rounded ends, right? You have them facing each other, and you use those to spread the buttocks, right? To get yourself a nice open area. Use your imagination. While you're doing a half squat onto the toilet, right? That way, there's no there's no intrusion, there's no obstruction, so to speak, right?
Try not to laugh into the microphone to annoy everybody.
And if you do that the right way, the first 2 seashells will remain relatively clean, right? In which case, you could use the shells to hold and wipe away any fecal matter. Flush, dispose.
All they
repeat.
need is a bidet, and then they're done.
Yeah.
And that's it. This Three Seashells. You said this to me before too. Like, wouldn't it be funny if you just had that in your bathroom? You just spray painted 3 seashells like silver and just had them on the back of your toilet. And then anyone that comes in your bathroom that saw that and knew, they'd like be like,
You also have to hide the toilet paper.
yeah. So
There has to be like a hidden compartment that you could like lift
you've
up.
got to
like,
remove
there it
the
is.
whole thing
There
off the side of the bathroom.
Yeah, something like that.
But could you bring it back? Could you use these 3 shells? Like that's a future I don't want to live in.
Yeah. I think John Spartan had the right idea. Just use the swear machine to get your paper.
He just spit out every swear word
Yeah.
in the book to be. He's like, now good. Now I can go take
I'm not
a
messing
dump.
with that. No.
They've also got FaceTime here.
Yeah.
I mean, you can get VR phone calls. You get a phone call, which brings me to something I wanted to bring up to you. He literally he's in the room and he gets a phone call from some naked chick for literally 5 seconds.
Yeah.
And she's like, oops, wrong number. Like that was only in there because in 93, if it was rated R, you gotta get that rating.
You got to earn the rating.
You got to earn it.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, we have a rated R, so we might as well just put that in there.
Yeah.
And I felt like that was the thing. The nudity served no purpose other than to make you laugh. It felt like 90s movies had a lot more random nudity than current movies today. Don't you think so?
I agree. And it doesn't even have to be a sex scene, right?
Yeah, it wasn't even a sex
In this
scene.
time period, the 90s movies, they just had a boob or a butt in there just for the hell of it. Just because.
I think I texted you when you were watching this, and you just texted me back boobs and butts.
Yeah.
That's
Because that's what it was. It wasn't a sex scene. It was an unnecessary, like, wrong number. They had to, like, get a reason to throw it in there. I feel like that's a major trope of the 90s. Good call.
Let's talk a little bit more about every restaurant being Taco Bell, too, because we kind of mentioned it before. You know, again, we're jumping all over the place. Doesn't matter. The movie itself it's whatever. But the society is what really interests me. Every restaurant's a Taco Bell because they said Taco Bell was the only restaurant to survive the restaurant wars. Was it literally wars? Like people are like fighting and they're just trying to earn what the restaurant is. Like you had Taco Bell fighting McDonald's.
Yeah.
You had soldiers in this downtown battleground of Los Angeles. That's kind of what I thought.
I like to imagine all the food places are, like, armored up.
Or was
They're
it a
all,
giant
like,
food fight? Like they had a giant food fight. Taco Bell had like the most like disgusting.
They were
food
the
to throw at people.
spiciest. They threw the spice in people's eyes. You know, it's getting in everyone's eyes.
All the jalapenos, they just won. I mean, think about it.
Their ingredients are the cheapest, so like they had like mass quantities of them. Yeah. Totally agree. Now, fun fact: every restaurant in this movie is Taco Bell. It won the battle, right? But in overseas versions of this movie, the Taco Bell is actually a Pizza Hut.
I could see that. But
So they say like they change the lines. Every restaurant here is now Pizza Hut. Like if you go watch this movie overseas in China or whatever. I don't know if they.
So did they film a different logo too?
Oh, yeah, I
when
think they
did
just
it?
superimpose a different logo. So it's not Taco Bell in other versions of this movie. It's Pizza Hut.
So was this paid? Was this a paid placement from Taco Bell? Do you know?
I don't
Because-
know, but it had to have been,
But
right? Why
Taco
would they just
Bell
pick it?
in '93, like I don't know. I never really went to Taco Bell. That was not like my fast food of choice.
We didn't have one in our home city.
And that's the thing. Like, so I don't know if '93 maybe it was an up and coming restaurant. I have no idea. I'm speculating on this. But why didn't they do like McDonald's? Like McDonald's that's like the restaurant, right?
Yeah.
The fast food chain.
I think Taco Bell's funnier. I think it just sounds funnier.
No, I think you're right, and
Yeah.
maybe that's what it is because it's like Taco Bell is kind of weird,
Yeah,
and he
right.
makes the burrito joke himself, and they're like, "Oh, it's not like that. Everybody has a Taco Bell, and it's like this really nice restaurant."
So they say every restaurant is Taco Bell. So are there like different versions of the Taco Bell restaurant? Like, is there an Italian Taco Bell? Is there a obviously a Mexican Taco Bell?
It's like Taco Bell Red Lobster.
Is there
for
like a Taco
seafood.
Bell? Yeah, Taco Bell seafood place. Like, is that what they're saying?
That's what I think. And when you go to the place, like they hand him this plate with like crappy looking food. It looked like bagel bites with corn on it. It was like he's like, "Is this all you got?" Like,
But it did look semi like Mexican, right?
I guess a little bit. I mean,
the plate itself.
it looked like little enchiladas, I guess, on bagel
that's what
bites.
I'm saying. So I guess what it boils down to is like I think every restaurant is fancy because it's illegal to have bad food for you, bad for you food, like no salt. He says pass salt, and everybody looks at him like he's weird because salt's illegal.
They're like,
all
"Oh,
that
salt is bad for you."
Yeah.
So I guess that's where I come back to that guy. Yeah, screw this society.
So he's trying to tell everyone what's good for him. Like, yeah, I guess salt's kind of bad for you, but what America? Damn it, give me my salt.
I'm sorry, I thought this was America.
Yeah, sorry. If I want to smoke cigarette, I can smoke cigarette. I drink a beer.
He asked for Marlboro. They don't
Yeah.
even do that in movies anymore. It's like smoking is really like it's frowned upon.
Yeah.
But that's the other thing. So Taco Bell is a restaurant. Talk a little bit more about the society before we jump back to the thawing of the guys. The VR sex helmets.
See, that's the future, baby.
So I could see that being the case. You want to stop AIDS. You want to like stop disease. Then stop touching each other. Stop swapping bodily fluids, like as Sandra Bullock would say.
And then she was saying like, oh, there was like AIDS, and there were like these other sexual diseases that are cool that we don't even know about yet. Like,
she named some random
She was just throwing
diseases.
acronyms around, and so I guess that's a good idea, right? Like to preserve the future human race, right?
So we already took this in the gutter with the Three Seashells, so let's just dive right back in.
Apologize for that.
So would you no, don't apologize. Would you do this? Would you use the helmet?
I think if they made it real enough that I might never leave my house again.
We're kind of there. I mean, PSVR just came out. Who knows about what else is out there?
Yeah.
So you think this would grow? This would like become a thing? So it's just like the new heroin? Like people are just in their house?
Like I think like, like obviously internet porn kind of like revolutionized the porn consuming world, right? So if they took this a step further, like the as the furthest they got of this kind of thing right now is like the real doll, right? You know what a real doll is?
Is that the thing from that movie with
Lars and the Real Girl?
Yeah, Lars.
Or it's basically
Gosling?
it's like a blow up doll, but it's very realistic to a scary degree, right?
You sound like you know a lot about this.
I saw a documentary on it. Don't get excited, all right? You can check my closet. It's kind of hard. It's kind of hard to hide a 6 foot.
I know we don't live
6
together
foot fake
anymore.
woman in my closet.
I know we
right?
don't live together anymore, but I might have to go do some
Oh,
inspection.
you didn't see my roommate? You didn't meet my roommate? No. So if like things continue where they're going now in another 16 years, this might be a reality. Now, I don't know if you need the two people or if you can do it between you and your computer, where it could be a whole other thing where porn stars could make like millions of dollars if this were a real thing.
Like you telepresence robot.
If you could do like a VR thing through like the internet. Yeah, and get the sensation, the human race will cease to exist.
Well, that's the other thing. Like, how did they procreate? They never said. They didn't even address it, did she?
That's why they're afraid of like humans having sex with robots.
But
they had a very funny subplot on Futurama about this, where it's like illegal to have sex with your like robot like friend or whatever, or it was a clone. I think it was like a
because
VR
people would
clone.
stop having kids.
And Fry was like had a relationship with like clone Lucy Liu. And it's like if this were a prevalent thing, then like we would not procreate and we'd die off.
But they didn't talk about this in the movie. Like, how did people have kids? They didn't even address it.
They did.
Did they? I must have missed that part.
Yeah, Sandra Bullock was explaining it to Stallone about how you have to go to like a facility and then like they do it safely.
I must have been thinking too much about the
they'll impregnate you like safely, sperm to egg type of thing through like
it's in vitro style thing.
Yeah, very much.
So then are people pregnant or the baby literally grow in a test tube?
I would think the way they do it is test tube.
Yeah.
But she didn't specify that. But I think it would be like genetically engineered.
I also like how she came out and asked him like, hey, do you want to hook up, basically? And she gives him a towel. Yeah. Because he might need that. He might need that for later. Let's talk about one more thing before we move on. The verbal morality credits. What's up with that?
Oh, yeah.
That's like the swear jar.
Yeah. Now, if there were a verbal morality machine around me at all times, like I'd be broke, right?
You'd be in debt.
There's about
in debt.
There's about like 1 hour a week where I don't swear, and it's when we're recording this podcast. And even then, I still say like
Every once in a while here.
everything under the sun except like an F-bomb. I try to like curb myself the F-bombs. There are a few that I had to bleep out actually. So it's like if there's no children around and there's not a hot mic on, I'm swearing like 24/7. It's like it's a habit that I can't break. So I can't imagine this thing like being implemented. Like say tomorrow, they're like, "All right, swearing's illegal."
What happens if you get fined, right? And they print this thing out. It's like worthless to John Spartan. He doesn't care.
Yeah.
He's got these tickets. He's gonna
wiped his ass with it.
He's gonna go wipe his ass with it.
Yeah.
So where does that go? Is it like a parking ticket where you just keep them and then you go to jail eventually? Do you get frozen for having too many swearing things?
You're not going to get pulled over because the car drives itself. So there's not going to be any, like, where are you going to get, like, hunted down, right?
Maybe this is the only way that they can make money.
Yeah.
You know, it's like when the end of the month, the cops start pulling everybody over. It's like, oh, they got to curse people, so you got to get the revenue stream.
Yeah. Well, it's like the only thing the cops have to do, right? So, but the thing is, like, if you accumulate enough of them, like, do you go to jail?
I think they freeze you. They throw you in the freezing
freeze
thing.
you if
it's
you
like
swear too much?
30 years in cryo freeze. You got to rehabilitate. You got to learn how to say nice things. It's like the equivalent of writing, I will not curse. I will not curse.
Write it on the blackboard.
Write it on the blackboard. That's your sentence. You have 30 years of writing it on the blackboard in your head.
I think swearing is a 30-day sentence.
30 days of
for 30
frozen?
days.
That seems like a waste of resources, doesn't
Yeah.
it? Like the energy that it takes to freeze you.
So let's go back to the prison thing for a second, because I just got to ask this. Is it cheaper per prisoner to be frozen or to be jailed?
Probably frozen because you don't have to eat anything.
But how much does it cost to freeze a guy and to maintain the like? What's their energy bill?
I mean, they
I think feeding a guy 3 times a day is a lot cheaper than freezing a guy for 24 hours.
but it's cooler. See what I
Shut
did
up.
there?
Skip
See
it.
what I did there?
Skip it.
See what I did there? But it's cooler to freeze them.
Skip it. What are you, Mr. Freeze? What are you, Schwarzenegger?
I mean, they did have the Schwarzenegger Presidential
Yeah,
Library in this movie.
They did.
So, but anyway, let's jump back to the plot here for a second.
So whoa. So before we do that,
Okay, go ahead.
you mentioned the towel. What was the towel for? She gave him a towel. She didn't have a towel.
No, she didn't need it. She had the kimono on.
She had the kimono on. Okay.
But was the towel for him
Dude.
because he was sweating?
So yeah, I'm going to try to ask this as non-crudely as possible. Does he finish? Like
He
physically?
didn't. He didn't.
But would he?
Yes, he didn't.
Or is it all in your brain?
No, it is in your brain, but it's like,
Like, do you get the physical sensation?
I think that it was. I mean,
I don't think you
I don't
do.
know if we could. I don't know if we could
I
go
don't-
down this path.
I don't
here.
think you do, though.
I don't. Put it this way. I think she gave him the towel for a reason.
Okay.
She's
Okay.
been down this road before.
She could sweat too, but okay.
But
All right.
she's been down this road before. That's all
Yeah,
I'll say.
we'll move on.
She asked him very casually, like, "Hey, do you want to hook up?" And she knew she's done it before. She's a pro.
We've done it. We spent a half hour talking about a fake society, so I guess we should move on with the movie. All right.
But yeah, let's get back to the movie. So the whole point of the movie is Simon Phoenix. Simon says gets frozen and then thawed out, and now he's running amok.
How did he get thrown out?
he got thrown
frozen
out? Thrown out.
Thrown out. Throwed out.
They unfroze the guy
Yeah.
because they needed to kill Denis Leary.
Who's they?
They meaning Mr. Mac, the cult leader.
The cult leader.
from
Yeah.
Boy Meets World.
Awesome reference.
If you remember Mr. Mac, Mr. Mac needs to unfreeze this dude because he wants to kill Denis Leary.
Yeah. Dr. Coxtoe.
Let me say this: worst plan in the history of movies.
Yeah.
So you're like, oh, I have a mouse in my house. Let me go buy a lion and stick him in the house. Oh, oops, he killed everybody.
Yeah, exactly. So Dr. Coxtoe, who's the mayor of this utopian society, the Pope, he decides, now we don't know this right away, but we find out very quickly, and Stallone figures it out very quickly, that Snipes is basically a hitman for this underground leader, Denis Leary, who's the character, who basically leads all the people who are against this utopian society. They live in the sewer.
All the scumbags.
They eat rat burgers. They still have beers down there. They got classic cars down there that they can't drive.
Hold on a second. Let me ask you something. You said they got beers down there, but he's eating rat burgers.
Yeah.
How do we know that beer is actually beer?
That's piss beer.
That's what I was
Yeah.
where I was going. I'm
or
thinking
it's
Dumb
like
and Dumber.
it's probably like
fermented pea.
you make it in the tub. It's like it's like moonshine almost probably.
Yeah, but they peed in a tub and
But
they
it's
bottled
fermented.
it.
Yeah, of course.
I mean, that's
So-
the only way.
So opposing the utopian society is this underground group led by Denis Leary, where they do graffiti, small time stuff, try to shake up the city, and they'll steal food from Taco Bell, one of the many Taco Bells in the land.
They're not so bad. They're
Yeah.
just trying to eat.
So Simon Phoenix gets thawed with a brainwashed rehab program that gives him like full on martial arts, weapons knowledge,
Weapons training.
training, enhanced strength somehow.
Conveniently missing is marksmanship.
Except for marksmanship, which he can't shoot to save his life.
That's because this
Yeah.
guy never
Yeah.
used a gun in his life.
So he has all these upgraded moveset list, and
He's got
missing-
martyrdom turned
so-
on the perk.
So he's running the buck. He's running the buck on the city. He's committing murder, death, kills, and he's stealing cars. And it's like, how do you stop a guy like this? How did he get out? And how do we stop this guy? So how do we stop this guy, Drew?
You got to unfreeze the Demolition Man.
You got to send a maniac to catch a maniac.
It's the only way.
The only way.
It's the only way. And that seemed a little reckless too, but
Yeah.
they should have just unfroze him from the beginning.
Right.
They waited too long.
So yeah, that's the fatal flaw of this entire movie is that Dr. Cocteau, I don't even know if that's his real name anymore. I think I
you were
butchered
saying
it.
Coxtoe.
Coxtade, Dr. Coxtade, he thawed out Simon Phoenix When he should have thought out like a lesser criminal, not a psychopath like Simon Phoenix, right?
Absolutely. Remember Simon Phoenix got his friends unfrozen? He should have just unfroze one of his friends.
Right, exactly. Someone more controllable. Because all he had to do was take out this one guy who's underground with a little pea shooter gun. And that's it. Like, he didn't have to go. It's like you said, it's like blowing up your house when you got a spider in it.
But let me ask you this. Did he need to unfreeze anybody?
No.
He could have just got somebody from another town.
Use that the cops are doing nothing in the city. There are no crimes in the city.
Get a task force.
Get a task force. Have them study this guy and arrest him. They have wands that you just touch someone and it knocks them out.
But does that... Okay, so let me ask you. Was this guy dumb or cocky? Or both?
I think he was cocky.
Because
he thought he could control him. It was his toy.
Because that's what I'm saying. Like, was he stupid? Like, oh, I think this guy's gonna get him.
He's
gonna get him.
He was naive.
So he was naive and aggressive and a dick.
Yes. Yes.
For lack of a better word.
Right. Exactly. Like you could have, the old guy in the police and the police department, the guy
that guy didn't forget how to fight crime.
The guy who was around in '93. I know he's old now. He can't really go out in the streets because he's like 70 now. But
he knows how to do it.
Right. But he could have been the leader to figure out a way to get this guy up from underground.
How was that guy not the police chief?
Right, exactly.
That guy knew what he was doing. The police chief was a moron.
So now this guy brings up Simon Phoenix, which in turn brings up the Demolition Man, the worst thing you could have for this utopian society. There's going to be holes blown everywer.
It's going to look like Los Angeles in 96 again.
He did turn it back into regular Los Angeles 93.
I don't understand where this guy was going with this.
Bad plan from the
start. It's like, you said it. You got a spider in your house. Blow your house up.
Now, in fairness, he didn't know that they were going to thaw out John Spartan. He didn't know that either.
It actually saved his ass to thaw out John Spartan, pretty much.
Yeah.
I mean, so let me go back to one thing you said before. Denis Leary, tough-talking, forward-selling truck man. Get a truck, bub. Edgar Friendly. Terrible name for a villain. They used all their naming power on John Spartan and Simon Phoenix.
Exactly.
Edgar Friendly is just not, and the casting on this is just way off.
You're going off of the casting too.
The casting is just. Way
I agree.
Off
Denis Leary doesn't totally work in this role.
The only reason they had him in this was for his Ford truck selling speech at the end of.
He wasn't selling Fords back then.
Whatever the hell he said, he had the tough talking. Yeah, you got to do this because you got to grow a sack, bub. Like his.
What are you gonna do? You're gonna drive Ford. You're gonna be American. You're American. If you're not American, what are you gonna get? A Nissan? Get a Hemi? Get a Sword? Pal.
And that's his spiel. You know what I mean? That's his thing.
That was his comedy act. Was to speak in one sentence.
That's what he did, and he did it well.
Yeah.
Poorly casted, in my opinion. They really could have cast somebody else. And you know what? I'm gonna go back on the casting on Cocteau too.
Yeah, Dr. Cockstein,
you gotta give me the guy. Remember when
episodes of the gutter?
This is so bad.
We earned one verbal morality penalty.
I should have started beeping you before.
If you beat me for every time I've sworn in this episode alone, then I think we're in trouble.
You already owe like $100 here. No, but I'm gonna go back on this. That casting was off too.
You don't like it?
No, they should have casted the guy. I don't even remember the guy's name.
He was fine.
What's the guy who plays Vincent Chase's rival, Agent Terrence? What's that guy's name?
McDowell?
Yeah, Malcolm McDowell.
Malcolm McDowell, you're right.
That guy would have been a great dictator.
I can't even argue with you. That's a better choice.
That would have...
You did it.
That would have absolutely made this movie better. And then get Denis Leary the hell out of there.
I'm blown away. That Malcolm McDowell is perfect.
That's what I'm saying.
He's
like
perfect.
He kind of looks like the guy. Yeah. This guy's like a poor
he's
man's
better.
Malcolm McDowell.
He's more sinister.
Malcolm McDowell he's sinister. He's got the white hair. Yeah. He looks kind of like a villain.
Yeah.
Get him in there.
But this guy looks like a pope though.
Yeah, but you don't need a pope. You need like an ominous like pope looking guy. This guy just looks like he looks like an amateur.
Yeah. He looks like a guy in Halloween dressed as a pope, I guess.
He does. Yeah. I don't know. Who would you cast instead of Denis Leary? I mean, you're okay with him? I can't
He's
even
all
think.
right.
I mean, get him out of there.
I don't know.
Put somebody else in.
I don't know. Like his beard was nice. He had a good beard.
He looked like he was living in the sewer.
But he looked dirty, which is worked. That's why it worked for me.
I guess on that note, he nailed it. He nailed it. Anyway, I'm going way too far off the tracks. Which side would you take? Would you take the utopian side, or you taking the underground sewer rat burger piss beer
So
drinking
yeah,
people.
so these people led by Denis Leary, they completely rejected the idea of the society. So I did some math, right? So they mentioned in the movie that there hasn't been a murder, death, kill in 16 years, since 2016. Ironically, is where we're at right now. So imagine if today was the last day there was ever a murder. Would that be nuts?
It would be nice.
Yeah, it would be nice.
Be a great society.
So that alone, that answers your question. We know where Drew's living.
I would take it.
Yeah.
You know?
So 16 years, right? So say the society started in to form in 1994 because Stallone got put in jail in 93, right?
Okay.
Say that the wheel started in motion. So in this movie, Denis Leary seems to be in his mid to late 30s,
Yeah.
right? Maybe early 30s even. So Leary was probably, I would say, 15-ish when this place,
If that.
when this society started getting rolling.
If that.
So that's when he started to so maybe he was like a John Connor in a way.
Yeah, like he's the leader of the resistance.
He's the leader of the resistance.
Like, hey,
where
we can't take
this
this crap.
young buck is he's going to take us to the promised land. He's he knows that this is bad for us.
He's going to take us to the
Yeah.
sewer.
So me, if I was of similar age and I had this very charismatic leader who was talking to me about what they're going to take our freedoms away, and these people, you're not allowed to swear anymore, you're not allowed to exchange bodily fluid, you can't eat a cheeseburger anymore, you can't eat pizza anymore, I might tend to side with Denis Leary.
So you're going to the sewer?
I think
you're gonna go live in the sewer?
this might not be a podcast right now because I think we'd be on separate sides. You'd look down on me.
Podcasting would be illegal
Yeah.
because we were using too many curse words.
Yeah, it would be. We'd have to be singing in these bikes right now.
Yeah. No, but I mean, I guess it wasn't the sewer. I'm making fun of it, but I guess it wasn't the sewer. It was just the old town that they
It was
built
the
on
old
top
underground. Yeah, yeah.
of. I mean, to be fair, it was a pretty crappy.
How did they build the city on top of a city, Drew?
I'm not a historian, but
Yeah.
what wasn't part of Seattle?
You are it?
What it wasn't part of Seattle built on top of a city?
Maybe it could be. It's possible.
I will have to check the archives here. The San Andreas or San Angeles archives.
See, that's the thing. I also want to say San Andreas a lot instead of San Angeles because of the video game. Because
Maybe it was a
Grand Theft Auto.
prequel.
Yeah.
It was a prequel. That's how
Yeah,
the
right?
city got all screwed
Yeah.
up. You know, The Rock, he didn't say he saved his daughter, but the town went under.
So long story short, you're with the Utopian Society. I'm underground, and we're gonna be fighting each other.
We're not friends.
Yeah.
You can steal my scraps from Taco Bell anytime you want. I'll put them in the sewer.
I don't like Taco Bell anyway. All right.
I'll put them in the sewer for you. As you said earlier, the police force was pretty inept. They're a bunch of idiots. They have no job. I feel like, why are they even there? Like, you know
Yeah.
when they say, like, hey, we should probably save some money, cut some jobs here? I'm not
Yeah.
advocating for people to lose their jobs, but really, what did they do?
I think they had money to burn though.
They're like mall cops.
Yeah,
They drove around in, like, electric cars
had-
on Segways.
They had nowhere to go, nowhere to be. There's too many of them. The facility is awesome, right? They're walking around with their wands. They have nothing to do. They meet Simon Phoenix in a phone booth, and they have no clue how to deal with them.
Do they have phone booths in 2036?
Well, it wasn't a phone booth. It was more of like an internet booth.
It was like it was his internet cafe.
Yeah. And the guy was like, it was like self-help. The guy was like,
talking to him.
Poor depressed guy.
No, but I mean, they there was too many. It's like if you went to the mall and you saw
Yeah.
200 mall cops on Segways.
Exactly. Like, what do you do all day?
You don't need that.
They show up all day. They got Rob Schneider. They got Benjamin Bratt. They got Sandra Bullock. And they're like, there's nothing to do.
Rob Schneider, severely underused in this movie.
So,
Severely underused.
so obviously the main cop is in this movie is Sandra Bullock. Lanita Huxley. She's like 90s nerd. She loves all the retro stuff. She's yearning for the action, right?
She needs to see some action.
She's watching all the Jackie Chan movies. She said she knows all about John Spartan, his history, because she read up on like how action was back in the day. She just wants to get out there and bust some heads, and there's no heads to bust.
Her office looks like my basement.
Yeah.
She's got posters of Lethal Weapon on
Yeah.
the wall. I would hang out in that
She's
office.
got toys everywhere. She's got weapons everywhere. And it's like she just wants some action, and there's no action.
She got yelled at from her dumb boss for wanting action because he
Yeah.
overheard her talking to the cryogenic freezing guy
Yeah.
saying, I wish that we had some action. And he's like, I can't believe you talked like that.
Yeah, wishing
Ridiculous.
action means wishing for crime. Nobody wants crime.
I mean, what's action to her? Like a parking ticket? You know,
Something,
we
anything.
joke about that. Someone
Yeah.
cursing.
Yeah, somebody steals something. But anyway, so cops find out that Simon Phoenix is committing murder, death, kills all over the cryogenic lab. So,
Death kill.
so we got to figure out like how to stop him. You got, like you said, you got to send him a catch maniac. We got to thaw out John Spartan. So I think it was the idea of the older cop who was
Guy with the beard.
the guy with the beard who knew John Spartan when he was like a rookie cop back in the day.
Should have been police chief himself.
And the warden is like totally against it, right?
Oh, yeah.
Completely against it. I don't know how this even happened because the warden was so against it. Or the warden, sorry, the police chief. The police chief.
The warden from Shawshank.
The warden from Shawshank.
That guy
That's
from
what I'm
that
saying.
thing.
Warden, yeah.
That guy from that, he's also
Yeah.
in 24.
Yeah. So we unfreeze John Spartan, and John Spartan comes out of the ice block and is immediately bombarded with insult after insult from this freaking guy. His boss, the police chief. Can I run down the type of
please.
the type of timecist things that he says to John Spartan?
This is unacceptable. He should have been flagged on that thing.
In this day and age, you can't get away with this stuff, let alone in 2032 in a utopian
That
society.
buzzer should have been going off.
Yeah. So he called this guy under, among other things, this is what all I caught, a grotesque, a Neanderthal.
A grotesque.
A Neanderthal, a brute, a beast, a caveman, primate, savage, a brutish fossil, creature, a barbarian, a Cro-Magnon, and a maniac.
What's the worst one?
Jesus, I don't know.
I think a maniac's actually like a compliment to
a
him.
grotesque. Primate's pretty bad.
I mean, you can't say that.
Primate.
A grotesque is like a grotesque what?
He's just an ugly human.
I get like, and everyone was saying it about him. It wasn't just the warden, right? The people at Taco Bell were saying it too.
Oh yeah. People.
He was like
disgusted
saying,
by him
because he was like, "Oh, you don't know how to fight this guy."
And all he did was be born in a different area. Isn't that like racist? That's like
That's timecist, man.
I think South Park coined that term, and it's reigns true right here.
That is a timecist.
You can't get away with that stuff. Guy's feelings. So he gets thawed out, and you talked about the Batman Joker dynamic that Phoenix and Spartan have. So he gets thawed out. He's confused. He wants a cigarette. You're not allowed to have cigarettes. He's like, what day is this? I don't know what's going on. Where's my wife? Oh, my wife died. That sucks.
He got over that in like a minute.
And then they mention, oh, skip this. You're here because we need to get Simon Phoenix. And he perks up. Phoenix is out. All right, let's get to work. Let's do it.
Forgot about his wife.
He's so
instantly.
excited that he has something to do. That he has Phoenix to go catch.
Did his daughter die? I can't remember because they
No.
said about where's my daughter.
No, he speculated about where his daughter is.
Shouldn't he go find her?
Well, that's the thing. He was in a car ride, and Lenita was like, "Yeah, we can find her. I could easily type it up in my computer." He's like, "No, don't do it. I'm scared." So he's scared to see her because he's afraid
she's living in the sewer.
or she's in a high rise, or dead. We don't know. He's afraid. He doesn't want to know if she's dead or if she's alive. And if she's alive and he meets her, he might disappoint her because he's an old guy.
You know what would have been a good plot twist? She's dating Denis Leary.
She's dating Denis
Bub.
Leary. Yeah, he should have found her in that sewer
That's what I mean.
in the underground city. Yeah,
That would have been a happy
that would have
ending.
been a great. That would have been a great subplot.
It's like, oh yeah, by the way, she's the lady making the rat burgers.
that would have been a great thing.
It's like, here, have a beer, Dad.
Yeah, jeez.
Drink up, pal.
What if she was the wrong number girl that was naked?
Oops, sorry,
Oops,
Dad.
Sorry, but it was like,
Maybe it was.
Dad.
Dad, is that you?
God,
What was her name?
I don't even think they said it.
Ashley? Is that you? Oops, sorry, wrong number.
She
Click.
sounds like an Ashley. Yeah. So to gloss over the plot and everything, I mean, we've been through 40 minutes of crap. So let's in 2 minutes go over the plot. So Spartan gets out. He adjusts the life. He has dinner at Taco Bell after he saves the guy's life. He saves the Pope's life. He fights Phoenix a few times after they find bullets and guns. They have a lot of gunfights that they never hit each other.
One of the best fights of the whole movie in the armory.
Right.
Like he's shooting a Civil War cannon.
Yep.
There's every gun you can think of with the bullets conveniently placed next to it because society is so naive and dumb.
Spartan figures out that the Pope, I'm calling it the Pope, it's, cockstained, cocktoe. He figures out that he was the guy that had unleashed Snipes to take out Denis Leary. Figured it all out like in 2 seconds, like Val Kilmer in Batman Forever.
Clock, chess pawns.
Yeah.
Enigma.
Yeah. So has virtual sex with Sandra Bullock, learns how to drive a self-driving car, has a rat burger, has a beer, befriends Denis Leary, and all of a sudden, boom, he's fighting Simon Phoenix in the final showdown in the cryogenic chamber.
After Cocteau dies.
Yeah. That's right. Sorry.
Yeah. Don't gloss over that because he was programmed, Phoenix was programmed that he could not pull the trigger against Cocteau.
Yes. Like he had his gun to his head, literally, and like something in his brain stopped him from pulling the trigger.
But he gets around it, circumvents it because he's smart.
Loophole.
He says to his friend, hey, kill this guy.
Can you kill this guy for me?
Boom. Done.
Done.
See ya. You know who wouldn't have fell for that?
Huh.
Malcolm McDowell, my boy.
You're right. It's a simple plot change. It's a
That
simple character change.
That actor would have transcended the movie.
Yes, you would have saw it coming. That's a chess move 3 moves ahead that you don't see. Right.
That Malcolm McDowell would have he would have taken it out.
So yeah, did we glossed over that also that Simon Phoenix snookered the Pope into unfreezing 8 of his friends.
Yeah.
So
that'll do it.
One of them, by the which, was Jesse Ventura, who had no speaking lines, but he did pull the trigger.
Don't forget who else was in this movie.
That's right.
We played a game a few weeks ago.
That's right.
Jack Black was in that.
Jack Black was in that.
Jack Black was in that.
He was the underground guy for a second. No
Quick
lines.
Cameo.
Yep.
At least they credit him, right?
Yeah,
it wasn't like on IMDb where it says Jack Black uncredited.
Actually, I caught it in the final credits when I was watching on HBO Go. So yeah, they have a final showdown, very similar to the showdown at the beginning of the movie in Phoenix's lair. The cryogenic chamber. He freezes the ground, uses the science that makes you freeze people. Froze Phoenix, whipped around, told him heads up, kicked his head off. Great line.
And it's over.
Tough guy line. Movie over.
So let me ask you this. Is this one of the movies that we've done where we've talked the least about the actual movie?
No, last week, Varsity Blues.
Varsity Blues.
The last episode of Varsity Blues.
Because hopefully, I think we try to do the society justice because I think that's one of the more important
That's the interesting
things.
thing about the movie, yeah.
It just ends so abruptly, the movie.
Yeah.
It just ends like, oh, hey, he's dead. Oh, by the way, hey, Denis Leary, you know what? We need a new leader. You look like you could handle this.
Yeah.
It reminds me of like Far Cry 4, where the pagan Min's gone. Oh yeah, this guy's just gonna take. Yeah, you could do a good
You
job.
can do a job here. Lead the whole country.
How do we know
Yeah.
that Denis Leary's not going to turn this town back into the sewer?
Well, we're not sure that Denis Leary is the leader. John Spartan kind of says, "Hey, man, you seem to know what you're doing." So he's like the leader of the underground, and the leader of the upper ground is dead. So you got to find like the happy medium somewhere. So I guess the question is, what's going to happen after the credits roll?
I think Denis Leary's going to take over, and he's going to turn this place into the sewer because that's better.
Is it going to turn back into 1993 Los Angeles again?
No, it's not going to be a war zone.
No,
it's not going to be a war zone. But I think he's done. He's had it with Taco Bell. Get rid of Taco Bell. Get out of here.
Give me a burger.
He's a McDonald's kind of guy.
Yeah.
And he's going to have beers. You're not going to have these cursing machines anymore. That's gone. So maybe this is for the better. Yeah, maybe he's going to get rid of the Three Seashells. Yeah. He's the toilet paper kind of guy.
People are going to start swearing again. It's going to be great.
You can actually have sex now. Get rid of those VR headsets.
People are going to be bagging all over the place.
And it's going to be a population boom. It's like the baby boomers.
Can I ask you this? What if you had sex while you also had physical sex while you had the headset on?
You can't do that because you would die.
Would you have a seizure?
It's too much stimulation. Too much. You'd have a heart attack.
It'd be like,
You'd have a heart attack. It'd be over before it began. We're so far in the gutter on this one.
They turned it off by now, dude. Nobody's listening.
Nobody's listening at this point. But no, do you think he's going to be good for society or bad?
Bad. He's gonna need somebody better than him
That's
to
what
kind
I mean.
of like steer it.
He doesn't know what he's doing.
If the rest of the country is normal, then they're gonna need some help.
I think they're just gonna, President Schwarzenegger is gonna just be like, you know what, let's start over here.
Yeah.
I'll come in. I'll take care of this place. Does Spartan get with Huxley?
Absolutely.
Does he go to find his daughter after this? Maybe 10 years from now.
Obviously now that like this utopia is now kind of gone, and there's going to be a new world. I think he does, and it's like he's responsible for it, right? In so many ways. Actually, no, I can't say that because Phoenix killed the Pope, but I feel like his daughter would blame because she probably had a sweet life, right?
Yeah.
She might blame him for like, see, Dad, you've been frozen. You've been unfrozen for 3 days, and look what happened. The world is destructive again.
And then, so what about the sewer people? Even let's say she's one of the sewer people. Let's say she was the chick making the rat burgers.
Yeah.
Does she want to live upstairs? Maybe they don't even want to. Maybe they like it.
Maybe
down
they like
there.
it down there. You can stay down there. It's fine.
So you think there's a faction of people that stay?
Yeah.
So is Denis Leary a sellout if he comes up?
Kind of.
He's a sellout.
But it's like there's a fine line between sellout and trailblazer.
Trailblazer.
So he's trying to make a better life for his people down there.
You know how I see this playing out? I see it that he becomes the new dictator and everything's under his rules now.
Oh, so it's like more the same.
Everybody's driving Ford F-350s. they're all firemen.
What are you gonna do? Have a computer drive a car for you, buddy?
Pal. Get out of here, pal.
Listen, Jack.
I think we've gone so far off the rails on this one No, I think he's going to be a dictator now, and it's bad news from here. Bad news from here. I think Spartan doesn't find his daughter.
I think San Angeles is a holding ground in about 10 years.
It goes back to old society.
It's worse than before. And it's because you know who the head of police is now? The Demolition Man. He's gonna be blowing shit up.
Because why not?
He's gonna have people making bullets again. There's no bullets anymore. They're gonna be manufactured again.
Don't you think Simon Phoenix was a little cavalier with those bullets?
He was.
I mean, there's no. You can't just go to the store and buy some more bullets.
The bullets in the museum are
ammunition.
That's it.
That's what I mean. That's the ammo depot right there. That's all he's got. He did pretty good for himself. He took out some AK-47s. He had that futuristic magnetic gun.
Well, that's the gun where that recharges. So it's like you don't need bullets for that.
But does it have a battery?
Yeah, you just got to recharge it. You have to wait for it to load.
Does it die like your cell phone after so much time?
That's why he had to like redo it. And it took like when he was fighting in the museum, like he had to like wait 5 minutes.
See, it's not worth it. Why did that gun ever become a thing? Like
it's been sitting around for 30 years. It hasn't been used.
Yeah, but if you shoot once every 2 minutes, it's like you might as well go back to a musket. Load your gun.
It's not 2 minutes.
No, because he said, it's recharging. He shot it, and then he had to wait another 2 minutes.
No, I thought it was one shot. I think you're mistaken.
I disagree with you.
I don't know. It is poor gun then.
It's pretty bad. They should have just got the AK-47 again.
That's right.
That's
AK-47.
better.
They already made the perfect weapon. The AK-47 is the perfect weapon. Or the M5. It's probably the M5.
MP5?
The MP5?
We're not.
I don't know. All my gun knowledge I know is from Call of Duty.
You haven't played Call of Duty in a few iterations here.
That's my only gun knowledge.
But anyway, we've been going on long enough. We're like, if you looked at the map of our plot conversation, we were like zigging and zagging all over the place. I think we should just wrap it up for the end. Overall, what'd you think of the movie? Did it hold up to where you remember it?
Yeah, I love this movie. Like I would watch it if it's on TNT. It's on TNT every once in a while. I'll always stop on it. It's great. It lives forever because of the Three Seashells thing, I think. Like, that's always a conversation that people love to have. So I'd love if you guys want to write in your own theories as to how the Three Seashells work, or if you turned it off because I started talking about it in such detail. I'm sorry. Thanks for tuning back in.
They just hit fast forward a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't seen this movie in a long time. It was just as good as I remembered it. It's up there with all the other 90s action comedies. Yeah. Stallone, one of my favorite actors. Wesley Snipes, it's a shame that he committed tax evasion or whatever the hell he did because I really like him. He's good.
The Blade series was kind of like his last hurrah, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And you asked me this earlier off air, if this was Stallone's best movie besides Rocky. And it's possible. I mean, looking back on Rambo, those movies aren't that great, to be honest. If I'm being honest.
They're classics.
They're classic, but what are they really?
I mean, I got to disagree with you. I love Rambo.
Is Rambo better than Demolition Man?
I don't know if it's better.
Maybe
it's
two.
Different.
Maybe two is.
Yeah.
Rambo 1 is kind of dull for a while.
No, but Rambo 1 was great if that's the first one you saw.
Yeah.
And maybe people would argue that, Rambo 2 and 3...
I mean, the body counts are way up there.
Yeah, I mean, maybe they would argue that 2 and 3 are better because it's more action, and then the purists would be like, no, we need basically the Metal Gear Solid, he's stalking people in the jungle thing.
Right.
But I would argue this is as good as those just because, but it's a different type of movie. You'd have to compare this with like a Time Cop or any of the, I don't know, maybe you could even compare it with Commando or something. The Commando was a little earlier, it's in the 80s.
Okay, take away his two franchises. Take away Rambo, take away Rocky.
Yeah, then I think it's his best
standalone
movie.
movies. Is better than Expendables, for example.
No, but yes.
I think it might be.
It's better.
Yeah.
It's better. It's probably better.
Yeah.
Expendables is great, but it's a different time
2
period.
is pretty good, though.
2 is the best one. But
I wouldn't call that a Stallone movie, though. I'd call it like an ensemble movie. It's an ensemble cast.
And you bring up a good point. For what this is, they didn't really make a movie like this back then. We've talked about this before, right? So they Expendables was like the first one where they all kind of went in each other's movies.
Yeah.
Snipes going into this movie, it's kind of a big deal.
Snipes v. Stallone, it's very similar. I was reminded of Face Off in this movie a lot.
Yeah.
It's like Cage versus Travolta, and they use like ridiculous technology.
And you had the two big name actors, two big time actors.
It's very similar in that regard.
And I don't know if Snipes was just underpaid compared to Stallone. I don't know if he was a bigger star at the time. It's hard to remember really. But
he was big at the time, so it was just. I think he might have had just as big a piece of this as Stallone did.
The budget was like $50 million or something, and they made like 150 back. Yeah. So it did very well.
Yeah.
So overall, I think it's a great movie.
Yeah.
But anyway, we've gone on for too long. I think we should get out of here. Hopefully people are still listening. But as we wrap this up, here's how you get in touch with us. As I mentioned at the beginning, our website's thelastrowpodcast.com. You can email us, thelastropodcast@gmail.com, Twitter @thelastropod, Facebook.com/thelastropod. We're on Instagram. We have a Snapchat if you want to search for us on there. And I mentioned in the beginning of the show, if you want to watch this movie, you haven't seen it in a while, if you want to help the show out, click the affiliate link in our post on Amazon or iTunes if you'd prefer to watch one or the other. That would really help us out. And if you could go out to iTunes, leave us a 5-star review. We'll read them on the air. Thank you to everybody that's left us a review. Hit that subscribe button, and we'll see you guys next week.
Skip it.
So due to copyright reasons, I can't play the Sting song on the outro.
No
Demolition
sense.
Man.
That made no sense, did it?
No, I mean, I guess the song, so I'm not a big Sting fan, but I saw that the song existed, so they took this and made it the theme
They were
song.
like, oh, Demolition Man, let's use it.
What they should have done was had Metallica do a cover
Yeah.
of
Yeah.
the Sting song, Demolition
Same
Man.
song covered by
Make a metal
band. Yes.
cover, because this movie, it could have had more metal.
Got a lot of good ideas for how to make the movie.
It's a great movie.